Hello, everybody, and welcome back. I hope you can see me, and I hope you can somebody let me know in the chat if they can. Let's hope we can get this one right this time, Deborah, because it normally goes, Fumbles 1 second. Hi, Jack. Hi, Chris. Yeah, there we go. Fantastic. Now I know you can see me. I'm just going to waffle for a little minute because I know there's a few people rushing because they're at work or they've been out on a Halloween night. Um, so, sorry, if you hear any strange noises, I must point out it is not me and my old age. My wheelchair has developed a creak for some reason, and I'm not sure why. Hi, the Watana, Kevin, and Jay. I think that's Joel, isn't it? Yeah, I'm not going to be able to read your comments actually while I'm online. So I'm sorry to anybody that I don't say hi to, but when I've read out the sighting reports from this month, then I will be able to get into the chat. Which brings me to the sticky question of if somebody discusses something in the chat and you do not agree with it, we're all adults and I can't referee. So either, just scroll past it and don't read it, or let's not turn it into a massive debate like it went last time. I can see lots of you in, lots of members in. I've got loads of news for the members and lots of news for people who are not members either. I'm just really excited that this live stream has gone ahead. As you know, last time it got took down for nudity. So I've made sure I'm all presentable today. So let me get started. Now, as I say, I'm not going to be able to read what you are typing at the moment because I might have to go to my blog and start reading the sightings. But a lot of people have asked me how I am feeling after the other night. And other than a little shaken, I must say I'm rather annoyed at myself because I did what I advise everybody not to do. I went to an area, and before I got there, I had the feeling that I should not go. And when you're on the way to an area, if you go, ugh, like I did, that's a really big hint, and I didn't take it on board. So what we tend to do is when we drive and we're heading anywhere, we usually go on feel. So Mark will drive and I'll say left or right or whatever, and try and get myself really, really relaxed. And we head for the area called Blackleach, which normally in the daytime I'm absolutely fine in there, but I don't like it there at night. And as I was realised that was the way that we were heading, I went, oh, in the car, and I just didn't take any notice. So we got another street to go on a turn, and as we get to the turn, I said, I really don't want to be here. And at that point, you're in pitch blackness. There's no street lights. There's nothing like that. It is completely black. You can't see a hand in front of your face. And Mark pulled the car to a stop. And before I could tell him to keep going, this something roared in my ear like, wah, down my ear. And I put my head in my hands and said, drive, just get us out of here, drive. Everything started to spin. My legs was going from underneath me. I wanted to be sick. And it was only the day after that I realised that I'd had a hint not to go there and I'd completely ignored it. It's All Hallows and the veil is very thin at this time of year. And what I didn't know was where we parked was an unofficial pet cemetery. So I've kind of parked on a graveyard, which is just ridiculous. I mean, take your own advice, Debbie, for God's sake. So, yeah. Oh, hello, Adam. What a lovely thing to say. I will be chatting with everybody as soon as I can get and have a look. It's really strange seeing yourself on camera, I must admit. So, yeah, so that was all that. But I'm absolutely fine. I did my protections, all the things you're supposed to do. I just went to an area when I shouldn't have gone and kind of intruded a little bit. I went a lot later than I would normally go. I'd had quite a bad night with pain, so Mark said, come on, we'll go for a drive. So I wouldn't normally be out in that time of night. So it was just a complete crap fest, let's put it like that. But I did go back, kind of apologised and set some boundaries down and said, obviously that won't be happening again. And when we've had a drive, I've had the feeling not to be there. So maybe it's time to just leave that area alone for a while. Lots of people have told me to back off and stop doing what I'm doing. I've been doing this for 37 years. I'm not backing off now. Not now it's got really, really interesting. I should just take my own advice, I suppose. So let's get us started, BBR. Hello, Northern Nightmare. The other Northern Nightmare. I think I'm probably one of those. Could call me that, couldn't you? So let's have a look. Right. I can no longer see the chart, so I'm just letting you know now. And you're just going to have to bear with me till I get to the end, I'm afraid. BBR made the newspapers today. Very favourable report in the Norfolk Express, discussing the Thetford Forest sightings. And I've spoken to the reporter a number of times. Her name's Stacia. Lovely girl. Has a real interest in cryptids. And she did an article on the A1, I think it's the A1705, the main road through Thetford that I can't bring to mind as we speak, a number of months ago, and that went really, really well. And we got quite a few members from it. Well, so on the 2nd of November, we had a chat and she put another story out there. And it's when I read the sightings out to you tonight that have come in over the since we last spoke at the end of September to this week, so there's quite a list of them. There is another Thetford one, which you will find interesting. So there's definitely something going down in that area, Norfolk. And I've had a number of reports come in from an area of Holt in Norfolk. So all kinds of tied in. It's sort of filling in the map a little bit for me. And obviously North Norfolk, you're right on the coast, aren't you? So you've got lots of ancient sites, but you've also got, for the flesh and blood route, you've also got the extra food resources, the salt, everything that we would use the coast for. But tonight we will start with, and obviously I'm putting a shout out to anybody that is in the area that is prepared to go out and have a look for me. I'm only giving you some of the sighting reports, obviously, because we'd be here all night. We'd be here for about 4 hours. But there's enough in there for you to decide whether you fancy running with the story or not. I've been able to catch up because lots and lots of people have been helping me out. They've been doing the blog for me. My hands at the moment are just not working. There's nothing I can do. So the sighting reports are fine. I can do them using my voice. But I've had loads of help. So people have really tied me up, untied me kind of thing from the situation that was in. So I've been able to take a lot more time for myself, which is absolutely fantastic. And I'm hoping that that's going to carry on. So I'm looking for people, and I've already got them in the members, but there will be more out there who want to take a more active role where they would go out to the sighting area and would handle the sighting for me. And if the witness was willing, they would liaise with the witness either online or face to face. And then obviously make the report, and then I would put the report out there. I'm hoping that's what we can do in the future. So if you're up for it and you remember, give me a shout. If you're up for it and you're not a member, just get in touch through my email, debbiehatswell@gmail.com, all lowercase. We are not using eBay anymore. They are crippling us with fees. We're paying more out in fees than we're actually making for the members. So we're running at a deficit. So that's gone. So we've managed to put a little admin team together, and they will be working on my email, and they will be able to send out your memberships. And I've got news on badges. But I'll get to that in the end. So the first one we're going to go to tonight, and I'm sorry for keeping you all waiting while I witter, but we are going to an area that's very close to Trowbridge. And a lady out walking with her teenage children and their dog was on the Bowden Hill, in the Bowden Hill area. And she experienced a strange feeling which left all of them feeling very uneasy. She said the dog, which is a staffette, ran away, which is very unusual for this breed. And whilst in the area, a strange grunt was also heard. Now, the lady is a regular outdoors woman, and she can identify most of the common wildlife and noises that are out there. So it's not somebody who's from the town and doesn't understand. So if you're in the Bowden Hill area, or you're up for having a trek out to Bowden Hill, and you'll take some area photographs for me, that would be absolutely amazing. Get in touch if you want to run with this one, and I will do what I can to get you in contact with the witness. Now we go to Allenton in Scotland. I've had a report from 2 guys out hunting. They've multiple encounters with something, tree knocking, and being observed from the tree line. So both men are seasoned outdoorsmen. They go out hunting quite a lot. They're ex-forces. One of them was a pilot. So we're dealing with men of intelligence, and one of them has an engineering degree. So for people who say, oh, these are just flights of fancy, I think that one knocks that out of the park. Now, these incidents happened between the 4th and the 9th of October. And they were saying we were sat around the campfire. I've shortened it, obviously. We've got the music playing from the phone. And when the playlist ends, there's complete silence. But a very unnerving silence because there's no bird sound and no noises at all. They begin to hear wood knocking. Later on in the evening, the tarpaulin is taken from the tent. Feelings are being watched, as I say. And on the very last occasion, feelings that they've been moved on from the woods, and we've discussed that before, this almost shadowing or diversion tactic of moving people out away from the area. One witness said, I asked my friend to stay put while I advanced towards the light that we could see. And they mentioned that further from where they could hear the wood knocking, there was an actual home, but it wasn't the exact area where the wood knocking and the light came from. And it's got a very high wall around it, so they don't think that it was any interference from the home or the home lights or anything like that. And he said he went off to try and track the light. Now, we've heard of this before, haven't we? As I got around 70 yards, however, the light seemed to move in an instant to a distance of perhaps 100 yards away from me. This happened 3 more times before I gave up, and I returned to the point where my friend was waiting. Upon returning, he immediately said, I'm being watched. I can feel it. And I admit that upon approaching this position, I had a very uneasy feeling, and I felt that I was being observed from the left-hand side. I said, as in response, from over there. And he said, yeah, something was watching us, and it wasn't friendly. So at this point, we decided to leave the area as we were unarmed. This is where it became absolutely surreal. As we began to walk out of the stillness of the evening, there came a gust of wind from the area of the trees, which was strong enough to almost take you off your feet. However, this wind was localised to the area in which we stood. All the trees outside of perhaps a 15 or 20 foot area were untouched and stood still, while the tiny area we were in was being battered by a mini hurricane. Next, something utterly baffling. Lightning at almost ground level, no more than 50 feet high, followed by thunder from 20 yards distance from the lightning. As this all happened within a 30-yard square grid. Quite frankly, one of the most bizarre experiences of my life. We fast walked out of there, trying to figure out what the hell we'd just experienced. When we reached the road of the car, both of us coming up blank. So that was Allerton in Scotland. So you've got a very strange weather event, shall we say. I have heard of accounts where there's an almost clap of thunder noise, or a noise that the person can't identify, but it's incredibly loud. I'm not talking about the thud, more like a sonic boom from a jet, and sometimes it's overhead. And some of those reports, not all of them, but some of those reports also mention a light or seeing a craft. Now, there's many theories on what this bang could be. It could be an explosion of energy that's emitted when the creature, whatever the creature does to appear there. It could be natural weather phenomena, as we've spoken about. And I'm really not sure, but I'm sure there's people out there that do know and can help us. Now, as I was saying, we've had a number of reports coming from Holt area of Norfolk. And the first one is from a gentleman called Liam. And it occurred just last summer in the Holt Country Park. So that would be summer of 2018. Liam was 22 years old at the time, and he's heavily into photography. He was sitting on a wooden bench near the bird pond watching when he started to hear what he thought was a dog walker coming over the grass area behind him. He said the sound was like that rasping breathing noise that a dog makes when it pulls against its lead too much and it chokes itself. The noise continued and it spooked the man so much he phoned for his lift early and he left the area. Now, he thought nothing of it and he carried on bird watching, obviously prior to him leaving the area. And after a while, he realised the noise was getting closer, So he stood up, expecting to see somebody with a dog, but there was no one there. The breathing sound kept coming nearer, and he decided to stand his ground. But eventually, he was looking down to where the noise was coming from, and it had stopped moving, but now he could hear it from somewhere near his feet. Eventually, the noise just stopped as quickly as it begun, and he walked home. Now, the next account is also from Hull, and it's from Selbrig Lake, and this happened in 2012, and it's a report from a fisherman. And he says one night he decided to do an all-nighter at Selbrig Lake, which was a large woodland pond about a mile out of East Holt. He had a weird feeling he couldn't really explain. He said it was a bit like he was being watched, but more like he wasn't alone. The feeling got stronger and stronger, and he was listening out for noises, but he heard none. He kept shining his torch either side of himself along the lake bank, but he couldn't see anything. He still had this horrible feeling that something was wrong, when suddenly, he felt like it was behind me. And the brush behind him, he could see what he called big, greeny, yellow eye shine in his torchlight. And he remembers thinking, big cat, and he just legged it, leaving all of his fishing gear behind. Now, we've heard that before, haven't we, from the anglers and the fishermen. That they're on the bank, it's late, they're doing late night fishing. A little bit like Chris, who's in the chat box. Chris, you can see Spirit Research Northeast. He was a witness when he was a child. Exactly the same situation. You're out and it's dark or dusk. Normally you've got your brolly or your umbrellas behind you or your little bivvy, and you hear something that's kind of, as we would say in the north, mooching around camp or creeping around camp. Quite often will make a massive noise and scare the hell out of you and go. Lots and lots of accounts of this eye shine, either yellow or green or red reported, even bluish white on some occasions. Now, as I said, Norfolk seems to be a hot topic of conversation at the moment. So we got to Clay, Norfolk now, and that's in the north. And a gentleman reports seeing bright red glowing eyes. He said, I stood looking for a while, but it didn't move. He ran towards it into the wood, stopped about 10 feet away from it, and gave the loudest screaming yell that he could manage, but nothing happened. It just kept staring up the road, and he stated, there, to my right, just inside the trees, was a pair of what looked like bright red glowing eyes. I stood looking for a while, but it didn't move. I soon realised that there was no light source. It couldn't be a normal eye shine reflecting. This thing's eyes were glowing red, but by themselves, which was impossible. He stated, I had been visiting a mate in my local town of Holt, and I was walking the 4 miles back home just after midnight. Halfway along the way, the road crosses a stream and passes through a thick wooded valley. It's very dark, there's no moon, and it's too cloudy to see any stars. I started to feel a bit uneasy, but I put this down to my normal reaction because I'm walking in the dark going home, and I just kept carrying on. Then I just froze. There to my right, just inside the trees, was a pair of what looked like bright red glowing eyes. Now, I don't know how many times that sentence comes up for me in taking reports. It had bright red glowing eyes. It had bright yellow glowing eyes. It's reported over and over again, from Ashford in Kent to the Isles of Scilly. Bempton, yellow eyes. Culbin, I could rhyme them off all night. Wellnifen, red eyes. Just everywhere, up and down the country, something out there has red eyes, and people are seeing it and they're making the reports. So now we're going to go to Wiltshire, beautiful area of the country, to Woodall Spa. And this is an account that came in through Chris Husk. And it says, a working husky dog, I've shortened it down of course, Miko was attacked by an unseen force in the wood. Wherever the predator was, it moved away up a tree from the animal, and the owner had to intervene within the attack as it was so bad. The poor dog was in a right mess. And the witness explained when out training his huskies, the other dogs had refused to run down a certain part of the track, which was also the right-hand side of Ostler's. Whatever his dogs were sensing absolutely petrified them so much that one of them was crying desperately to get back to the van. And he states that they are not normally bothered by anything. And we've had a number of reports come in of this almost predator-like creature, is the only word I can think to put to it, where you can hear it, feel it almost, but you can't see it. A number of animals that have been attacked, a number of working dogs, and there's a very strange going on. And we know that there are dogs refusing to go into areas, and if they're refusing because they're picking on up on something like Mika did, they're refusing for a very good reason, and we don't know what it is or how it's there or how impossible it is, but it's happening. The next one is Somerset, and it is a mother and children, and they'd been out. She lives in the rural area, and they found what they thought was deer beds bedded down, and the lad said, can we camp out tonight, mum, and watch the deer come in? So a mother and children waiting to watch the deer come home are suddenly confronted by a large, hairy, naked man walking in the darkness close to their very rural home. And she was terrified by what she saw, and she ran back to the house and she armed herself. She stated, we'd been sat for about 3 hours when I saw him. I was jerked into high alert when I saw a man walking north to south across the clearing. He had no flashlight and was walking in the dark as he left the forest, which really bothered me. Most humans would be carrying a light source unless they wanted to remain hidden, which of course made me question why he was out there. It's nearly midnight and this guy's on my land with no flashlight, walking around like he owns the place. He's had no visible firearm, so he's not a poacher. Maybe a trapper burst into my mind. Never before and never again have I seen anything like it. And she actually lit it up with a light, and she said, I'm reluctant to put a label onto what I saw. I'm certain it was not a man. We are a long way from anything out here. So if it was a man, he had serious problems walking out that far of civilization at night, or he was looking to do something wrong. But I don't think it was a man. I can't explain it. And that's my story, as ridiculous as it sounds to people. It happened. This is the first and last time I will ever tell it. And I have no desire to be called a nutter or ridiculed in any way. So let's just say I saw something very strange in rural Somerset in June of 2016. Now, how many people are there out there that have a similar story to this lady? They can't put a label on it. You can't go to a paranormal group if you don't think your report's paranormal. You can't go to a 14 group if it's not a misidentified animal. You can't go to the police because they won't take your report. And people think there's nowhere to go. Well, we'll take it, won't we? We'll take the report, we'll listen to them, and we will say, you're not on your own. There are other people who've been in similar situations to you that have seen a human-shaped figure covered in hair walking along that they can't put a name to, whether it has an ape-like face or a snout, upright ears or ears on the side of the head. You still don't know what it is. Even I'm not 100% with what I saw, and that's all that you're left with. This memory and the fear. And when I bring the report out, obviously there's a lot more to it than that. She actually stood in the house. She's a single woman with 2 kids, and she's terrified because there's a man walking around on a land that doesn't have a light at night, moving like, you know, not a problem. I'd be terrified, and I'm sure my friends would as well. I have a very staunch friend called Karen, and I think even Karen would get the willies over that one, because it's just not what you expect in the middle of nowhere. The next account is in Sheerness in Scotland, and it's a man and a wife out walking the dog, and the dog reacted to a strange figure that the wife also saw. Now, this happened on the railway embankment, and I brought this up as it's come in, and we've spoken about the railway embankments before. Some of them are incredibly steep, like the one at the back of me, so the track's high up, and everything here is overgrown and just wild, really, and you could move along them, with ease if you wanted to. And many of the research areas have disused railways, or like here, they're only used in the daytime. They stop about 11 or 12 o'clock at night. They don't open again till about 6 in the morning. No lights on them. We see lots and lots of people walking down them from work because it's just farms. Once you get out of the town, it's just farms. And we see a lot of what I presume are illegal immigrants, because there's a number of them camping in the wood now. So it's humans take it for ease of access, so why wouldn't something else that's moving along? And then this is a report that's come in, and the gentleman was very reluctant to report it, and he did report a cat sighting that he'd had. And when I put it out there, I'm going to put all of the sightings accounts, but I wanted to bring it up to you because it once again plays into that. What do you call it? And it's becoming accepted now for people to see upright, hairy, 6-7 foot tall creatures. But what if something you see is this big? It throws it into a realm that for most men is hard to understand. So they just don't know what to call it. And I don't know what to call it, what he saw. So I'm just going to bring it to you in his words. And as I said, he's reporting a strange small creature, which he described as looking like the Gringotts from Harry Potter. Now, I didn't know what they were because I've never read Harry Potter. I watched the film, so I had to go and have a look. And it's a typical troll, nose, horrible looking thing, very pale, with, you know, not nice ears. Boggarts, we would call them up here in the north. He stated it was 2 years ago in autumn or early winter. And it was a Sunday morning. And he reckons it was winter because the cover had died back. He said, I'm looking through my binocular out over the boundary, a possible 180 to 200 yards away. And sideways on, I saw a pale ivory coloured thing. It looked like the things that look after the bank in Harry Potter. I watched it for about 20 minutes plus, and it moved only very little, but it kept the same sideways angle as it moved. Just the head was all that I could see then. It was possibly 18 inches high. It had a long nose, large pointed back ears, and it was all the same colour. Then I had another strange experience last year in September. I was sat in another high seat because there's a hunter, you see. Hunting, it was a Saturday evening this time, and I think it was about 7ish. There's a cool, stiff breeze coming from the west, and I'm looking out towards the boundary fence on the other side of it, so he's got his binos again. Maybe 50 yards away in total was a cloud of mist that rose up out of the bracken. It was 12 foot high, 4 or 5 feet across, and you could see through it. It moved off into the wind and just disappeared after about 15 foot. It travelled quite fast and it went against the wind, not with it. So there's 2 accounts from a 6 weeks period where we have these strange weather events, these mists or swirling winds. And I'm sure that the people that are out there, they've got theories on what these are. And if you have, please get in touch, because I would love to either interview you or speak to you privately in email if you can shed some light on this event, because I've got some even stranger accounts to come. It would seem that now we've opened the lid and me and other people have said, look, I saw something really weird and I just don't know, what to do about it. And I want to get together with like-minded people and discuss what I saw without ridicule. It's brought a multitude of people out. So the next one we've got is Melton Mowbray. And it says 2 people out hunting reported an upright little creature that looked like a skinny man, and it was either covered in fur or it was wearing clothes made of fur. And it was about 18 inches tall, and it ran out of cover. It did actually see the men that had seen it, and it ran through the undergrowth and disappeared. So there's 2 men who don't know about each other that have both got in touch with me in the last 6 weeks. In fact, these 2 in the probably last 4 weeks, because I was really behind, wasn't I, with email. Both saying that I've seen an impossible little figure running in the woods. And I think I'm probably the only one. Well, as you can see, you're not. He says, a friend and I were hunting in a large woodland in Essex without permission at the break of dawn in summer. It was about 3 or 4 a.m. Now, there's not much to tell in terms of detail, Deb, but what looked like a skinny man, either fur covered or wearing clothes, but he was about 18 inches tall. He ran out of cover, he saw us, and he ran through the undergrowth and disappeared. Now, the whole sighting was a maximum quick second, but myself and my friend both saw it. And it blew our minds to the extent that we ended up laughing uncontrollably in disbelief. And that's quite common, actually. And what the heck, what did we just see? Total confusion. We tried to explain it away as maybe a weasel running on hind legs, but it had arms and a human-shaped head. Neither of us saw any features, and it was absolutely brief. It makes no sense whatsoever. I know it's not exactly Bigfoot related, Deb, but it is peculiar. Feel free to take or leave it. I assure you I'm not pulling your leg. It is possible maybe you misidentified something, but it was as plain as day. We saw a skinny, tall looking man running through the undergrowth, very fast, covered in brown fur. I couldn't see feet as it was running through the undergrowth, but it had arms and hands and it ran like a human. It's just incredible, isn't it, the stories that come in. Now, I did realise at the end he actually mentioned it was tall, so I need to go back to the original report and double check that. That might be something I've done when I've copied and pasted the two across. But that's not a problem. It is sat in draft on the website waiting to be gone. I can see you all chatting and I'd love to be able to join in, but I can't actually join the chat yet until I get through some of these reports. Pardon me, I'm just going to have a cigarette. I'm hoping Mark's going to bring me a cup of tea in a minute. I'm almost at the end. So as I mentioned earlier, Thetford again. I think it's pronounced Elvedon. I hope I've got that right. Elvedon. A couple are out driving, and what they like to do, it's not the same couple that were out last time driving with the lights, but a similar situation. But this couple are not out there in the day. They go out dusk and dawn and shine the light because they like me and Matt, they like to see the buzzards and whatever's out there, and a good way of picking them up, deer and hedgehogs and badgers and things, is to shine your light and you'll pick up on the eye shine. So they're out driving and they're looking for wildlife at dusk, and they basically had a huge muddy lump thrown at the car. One night we had turned onto a byway close to West Stowe, and after driving for about 15 minutes, we stopped at a crossroads in the middle of the forest. It was a beautifully clear, warm night, and because there was no light pollution, the stars looked amazing. So we turned the engine off, and we sat with the windows down and the sunroof open, and we're just laying back slightly so that we can look up to the stars. We hadn't been there for very long at all when we heard a large animal in the forest to my side. Thinking it was probably a red or fallow deer, of which there are plenty in that area, I shone the torch into the forest next to me, expecting to see the deer, but I didn't see anything. I went back to looking up at the stars. The next thing I knew, there was a thud on the car, and then a thud on the roof, and a large lump of mud fell in through the sunroof. It totally freaked us out, and I started the car immediately and put the headlights on. We looked around us with the torch on my side, several metres into the forest, and I picked up a pair of red eyes. They were about 7 and 8 foot high in height. Now, I knew that no animal had red eyes, and especially no animal at that height, and I felt really scared. I turned the torch off, I handed it to my husband and started to drive. But I glanced again and I could clearly see 2 red eyes, still glowing, though we weren't shining any light in that direction. And I drove away and I didn't stop. Something's in Thetford, as I now know it is pronounced, and I have no idea what it is or what to tell the witnesses. Some reports come in baboon, some reports come in as an upright bear, some describe a wolf-like creature, some describe an ape-like creature. In one account, it was an 8 light shook. I don't think people know what to call what's being seen down there. This red eye shine comes up again. Eye shine when there's no light directed at it means self-illumination in some way. Way above what I can understand. I don't know any animal that can self-illuminate its eyes. But if there's no light to reflect, it has to be producing a light source of some kind for us to be able to see that eye shine. We should only be picking it up. And when I was chatting with Alan Raw the other night, as he explained to me, different light sources have an effect on the eye shine that comes back. So whether you use a dim torch or a luminous torch, whether the light is slightly yellow or you use your iPhone, you will get a different reflection coming back. But if you're not shining any light in there, you shouldn't be getting eye shine coming back. And it clearly seems that that's what's going on in Thetford. There's been a number of accounts down there where things are thrown at the cars. Now, in one case, it was a metal bolt of about this size. And in this case, it's been a, huge chunk of wood. And one person said to me that they presumed it was a cat. Now, cats can't throw things. The only things that can throw are things that can pick it up and throw it. So even the bear account, where it's gone from 4 legs and up again to 2, a bear's not going to pick something up and throw it at you, even if there was an unidentified escaped bear running around out there. And many Americans will message me and say it's a bear, but we don't have bear in England, as we know. So what's going on at Thetford? You've got reports of strange lights, you've got paranormal reports, you've got growls and grunts and howls and things being thrown, canid creatures seen, ape-like creatures seen, creatures described, as I said, in the simian way, as in baboon or monkey, something like that. This eye shine that people report. There are around about 9 accounts down there now, and I'm sure they're going to continue to come in. And I am looking for researchers in the Thetford area, and I'll get to that a little bit later on because I'm going to put some shout outs for areas for people who are looking to team up, and Thetford is definitely one of those areas. So now we're going to change. We're going to go up to Scotland. And as many skeptics will say, there is no way they are in England. Well, don't tell me they're not in Scotland, because up there it is so vast that you can walk for a day and not see a person. So that puts out the, the overpopulous argument out of the pan. And if what we're looking for is not flesh and blood or corporeal in nature, then it doesn't matter where. Because if they are materialising or using a dimension, anything like that, paranormal energy, they don't need to be in the wilds. They can do that anywhere that they feel like doing that, can't they? They could do it right now at the side of me. And hopefully, if they do, then, they don't need to be in the midst of the wilds. But the reports that come in from the midst of the wilds are the ones that interest the skeptics, obviously. Oh, thank you, sweetheart. Because they're in the wilds, and that they always say, oh, there's not enough area in the UK, and thank you. You know what it's like, there's not enough this and there's not enough that. Well, you can't really say that about the wilds of the Highlands. And this is on the Creeth to Perth Road. I hope I've got that right. I always get the Scottish spellings mixed up. And it's a very lonely road that rolls through the mountains. And you don't have to use it. There's modern roads. But unfortunately, this time there'd been a mudslide and one of the modern roads was closed and it was used as a diversion. So it's a woman driving to work, and it's very early in the morning. She said it was about 6 a.m. and she sees a creature. When she sees it, she states that it runs off into the woods, and then something really strange happens. I'm going to go into that in a second. The lady who lives in one of the areas, she lives in an isolated farmhouse, right? She's on her way to work in Perth, and she intended, as most always, to take the main road, which is the A85. But however, on reaching the junction, she found the road blocked and a sign that directed her to continue her journey along the aforementioned track instead. So she's travelled a fair distance when, just as she slowly rounded a bend, her eyes fell upon a sight that she's never forgotten. Knees bent, crouched with its head down, was a gigantic hairy man. He was exactly like a man, said, but covered in hair. He had 5 fingers and he was very tall, and he was drinking water from a puddle. And the lady braked only a few yards from him. She couldn't believe her eyes, and he was cupping his hands and drinking from the puddle like that. Now, the creature glanced sideways at her, and with seemingly no effort whatsoever, it bounded over the fence and raced with unbelievable speed up the boulder-strewn mountain slope and into the woods. Now, as soon as the creature slipped into the trees, for no reason whatsoever, the lady's car began to roll over sideways, and it turned at least 3 times, over and over and over, eventually landing on its side. The woman was hung, partially suspended from her seatbelt, and she was astonished to see that all of the items on the dashboard had not moved at all from where she'd put them. Her only injury was to her shoulder, and it was only slight, and she thinks that that was caused by the seatbelt. Fortunately, she had a mobile phone with her, and she was able to phone for help. Now, obviously, there is more on that story. I'm just trying to condense it so we can fit it all into the live feed. So basically, she's driving along. She's got all the stuff. If she's like me, she's got stuff all over the car. The car tips and tumbles around 3 times, and nothing's moved. Everything's where she left it, which is just incredibly strange. And it, to me, it almost smacks of energy of some kind, as if he's thrown his energy or he's used his energy to push the car away, and he's done it in such a way that, you know, clearly endangered her. But she, as she said, the only injury she had was from the seatbelt, and that can happen when you're driving with Mark, in all honesty. So the next account, and one that people just, excuse me while I get comfy, and as I said before, if you hear any strange noises, listen, my wheelchair's got a bit squeaky on me, but it is as old as Methuselah, and I think I got it second hand, and I think Methuselah was probably its original owner because it's very, very old. But yeah, that's just my wheelchair, it's nothing else. Right, we go to Tingley in Yorkshire, and I know Northern Nightmare is going to absolutely love this because it's a report that come in off a police officer. So they see eye shine from something they cannot identify when they're guarding a crime scene. So they're out there, and basically there's been a death, a natural death of a homeless man. They go out, and obviously they have to wait at the scene because the coroner has to come and declare that there are no suspicious circumstances. There is predation on the body, but what they described as natural predation. So any animal that's out there that's fancied a nibble on this poor guy while he's been out there, and then you'll have insect damage and all of the above. So one police officer who is local to the Yorkshire area, and a female police officer who's also local to the Yorkshire area, are out there, and they are minding the scene. As they're minding the scene, it starts to get dark, and it can get dark at 4 o'clock in the north, as you know. So she's wandering around because she's a bit bored, trying to get your blood going in your feet so you don't stiffen up, shining a torch, and she describes the gentleman who made the report says she screams like a banshee. And when he looked at her, she was saying, there's something in the bushes. It was around about chest height on her. And it had, let me just check and get the right colour. She caught a glimpse of its eyes, whatever it was. It was a dark shape of something, and it was right there. She said it would have been behind her. So she's turned with the torch. So it was originally behind her. It doesn't say what colour the eyes shine like. It says the eyes looked round, but she couldn't see anything. And he said he was thinking at the time that somebody had crept up upon the scene, like poachers perhaps, and she was very shaken up, and it made him think twice about what it was because of the reaction. And they did have a look around the area, and they couldn't find anything. And as I say, it wasn't a suspicious death or anything like that. It was a natural occurring death, but just very strange that something approached them. You would think that if that was a big cat or something like that, it would head in the opposite direction. But interesting that we're finally starting to get people involved from the services like the army and the police, and there are a few members that actually are ex-army and police, and they just keep it quiet, obviously, for work reasons. But there is, the interest happens regardless of what your job is in the UK. And it's fantastic that these reports are starting to come in. So I'm going to have a chat with the witness and see if we can narrow down a year. Because to apply under the Freedom of Information Act, I need to be able to say, can I have the report on this death that happened at this time, on this day, on this year. And other than that, they will just kick it out. Because, Ian, I can't think, was he Neil who applied for the Staffordshire werewolf account? That was the reason that they gave him for knocking him back. There was actually 12 werewolf reports, but they said unless he asked for them by date and time, and obviously we don't know the date and time because the reports went in to the police. It's kind of a catch-22 situation, so I need to be able to kind of narrow down a year approximately. The next account comes from Glen Brittle Forest in the Isle of Skye, and I'm looking for somebody who can have a look at some paw prints for me. I know a little bit about cat prints, and I can't peg it. And I know dog prints, but I can't peg it either. I'm not really sure what it is. So I'm looking. There's 6 images in total. So I'm hoping that somebody will have a look at them for me. If you're a BBR member, just pop me an email over, and I'll pop the pictures over to you. And I will put them in an article on the blog so that people can see them and have a look at them. But yeah, come from the Isle of Skye, as I say. Recent, only last month. Large canine or cat. He did put comparison article in there so you can get a decent measurement on them. He said they were found on the 19th of the 10th at 10 a.m. at Glenbittle Forest on the Isle of Skye, and he works there. He said these are 100% not dog prints, as the path it was taken on has been closed to the public for over a week now due to forestry work. They were fresh that day, and it was on a path that the previous day up to 5 p.m. He worked on it the day before, and there was nothing there. Nothing was visible up to that time. So he says whether they are big cat or something else, I don't know. But they shocked us all, and we were wondering what could leave such a print. And they kind of, normally on a pad print, you get that kind of, like a flattened love heart shape, more like a kidney. And that's missing in them. It's very strange. There's definite claw marks, but no pug mark, no pad. So I can't really identify them. They don't look like dog either, to be honest. Very strange. Now, from very close to me, and I'm hoping that me and Kaz can nip up here and do a little bit of filming and show you the area. It is the Rivington Bear Man. Now, I've had this report for quite a while, and because I've got backlogged and everything that had gone on in the last year, I've not really been able to get it out there. So, people have heard me talk a little bit about it. Upright bear man causes accident where the witness actually breaks their ankle. So, he says it's a gentleman reporting on behalf of his friend, and he says we've been close for years and years and years, and we go out for meals, and sometimes we go away together and everything, and I've known him for about 25 years. So not last September, the September before, we crossed paths again, and we'd just been for a meal in Manchester one Saturday afternoon, and we're on our way home, and I was driving, and she complained that her ankle was hurting, and I asked if she was okay, and she said she'd broke it the year before. And it was quite bad, and she was laid up on crutches for a few months, and she did it dancing. But then she went on to say that it had been weak anyway, from years ago, and then went on to tell me how it happened in the first place. She, in around the mid-90s, her and a few friends had been out clubbing and decided to go up to Rivington, and that was quite common around here, that you'd either head for one of the service stations after the club shut, or you'd head up to Rivington or Blue Lagoon that way, and there'd always be someone up there with music on, and that's kind of what we did. And before that, people had head up there, Winter Hill as well, and do the CB radio, so it's always been kind of a meeting place for people. So there's the mid-90s, a few of her friends, and they've all been out clubbing, and they decided to go to River. And they went to the Chinese Gardens, which is a beautiful place if you get the chance to go, because it's just easy to park the cars there, to be honest. So they're walking up the track to the top where the gardens are, and they'd had a bit of a party, so a few drinks had gone on. They've got a little fire going. There's about 6 or 8 of them, and there's a couple of cars full of people, and she decided to go for a pee, to politely put it. So she wandered off to where there was no people to find a spot where she wouldn't be seen. So it says it took her a few moments for her eyes to adjust. But from what she told me, she said, as she was peeing, she saw something come out of the trees that was huge. She said its head was big, but the body was huge. And I asked her what she meant. What did it look like? And she said she saw it for about 10 or 15 seconds. And from what she could make out, it looked like a cross between a man and a bear. Sort of the body of a huge hairy man, but the head of a bear, she said. So at this point, once she'd gained her senses, she got herself right. She turned to run, and as she turned, she twisted her ankle and let out a scream and fell to the floor. One of her friends heard her and ran over and picked her up. So she was crying in pain. So they carried her back down and took her to the hospital. And she sprained her ankle and tore some ligaments ever since. And her ankle had been weak for years and years and this. Now, she told me this because she knew I was open-minded, he said, to all sorts, really. And because I'd told her over the years about a few strange things that had happened to me. So I didn't know how to tackle what to say next. I knew she was telling the truth. Because when you know someone, and you know them well, you know when they're being honest. I explained to her about Bigfoots and dogmen, and she said she was, but she hadn't heard of them. She didn't know what they were, apart from that it was hairy, like an ape or something. And as I say, Rivy's not that far away from where we are, and there's quite a number of reports on the Irwell route up here. And I know there's a number of people that research up there and around that area. You get quite a lot of people there in the day, but there are some parts that are just inaccessible to your cars. A lot of sheep up there, a lot of people farm up there as well. So I don't see why, you know, we could have a little bit of a northern meet up there, and a few of us, because you've also got the Ellesmere route, and I'll explain why that will tie in a minute, because we've had a report come in of ongoing activity now. So it's happening now, and it's happening in Merseyside, St Helens, at an area called the Cobs. So if there's anybody interested out there that is from this part of the country and you want to meet up with me there, Mark will drive me there, and I'll come in on my chair and we'll have a look and see what's going on, because I'm chatting to the lady online as it's happening now. And it might be something that we can do, because I've not been able to get any meets together at the minute, because I just can't really get out. It's just too much on me. I think I'm cured every summer, and then winter comes and it just knocks me for six again. And obviously, you know that I've got the conferences, so I'll explain a little bit more. So to our last one now, which is in Haverick in Cumbria, and it was forwarded from a Facebook group by a friend of mine called Dom. And it's the report. She wasn't asking in a Bigfoot group. She was actually asking in her local town, because she'd seen something really strange, she said. And it happened on the way home tonight. I'm driving down Haverick Road. It's me and my husband, and we saw something big cross the road, and it just disappeared. Now, we are sure the driver from the other side also saw it, because they had their main beams on. It was where the field is with the little ponies, near the house where the pavement goes out a bit. I just want to know what it was. There's hedging that way, and it went in, so it couldn't have been a deer, as it had nowhere to run. And whatever it was tall, not wide. And the other car must have been seeing it, because as I said, they had their main beams on and it picked it out. It really did freak me and my hubby out, and I'm not easily freaked out. So there goes all the sightings that we've had in the last few weeks. And I'm sure I've missed some, because there is still some, only about 20 now left in email. I have heard from Isabella. I've seen emails come in from her. I've just not had a chance to pick them up. So as soon as I can find out any information on them, probably tomorrow now, I will get it out to you as quickly as I can. So I hope you, I'm not going to disappear, but I hope you enjoyed all those sightings. I'll be able to click the chat on in a second and chat with you all, and you can throw some questions at me. People have been asking me for membership badges, not the ones that we sew on, none of that, because we do have them, but it just costs me an absolute fortune because I have to order them up front. People are talking about a little pin badge that they can click on, so that when they're at conferences or when they're out and about places, they can spot other members of BBR. So I've been able to manage to source some. Oh, I'm not having luck with that lighter, am I? And I will... Now, this is the mock-up. They're not going to look like this, obviously. This is just something I put together today. So it would look like that, and you can't see it because my bloody thing's too shiny. Right. 1 second. See if I can darken it down some. Yeah, so it's going to be a white badge with BBR on like that. And it's about 38 millimeters. So including postage and sending it out to you and stamps and all that, it would be for the extraordinary price of £2. So we won't make anything on it, but it will mean that people across the country will know who's another BBR member or not, because the sew on ones are great, but you're stuck to one piece of kit, aren't you? So something like that you can pop on and off, because we have got a number of conferences coming up. And it was actually Linda Robinson, one of the ladies from Nottingham, who said to me, Debbie, is there a badge or something like that, so when we're at these meetings we know who's a BBR fan and who isn't? And I said, well, there isn't actually, but I'll have a look into it. And I know Mike and Bob Smith were really interested, so I've ordered some today. I've had to take a gamble on it because they only do them in 100, so you never know. Might end up with 100 BBR badges. But just you can get them by just emailing me, and I'll just pop them in the post to you. And we will find a way of making sure that every member ends up with one. Let's put it like that. So, 2 conferences coming up. The first one will be in Hull, and it's not my conference. It's being run by Alan Raw, and it's Alan Raw you need to get in touch with, but I do have his email if you need it. It's going to be the Research and Witness Convention, and it's witnesses to all kinds of phenomena across the world. I'll be speaking there, Yvette Fielding will be speaking there, and Carl. There will be people from the UFO world. There's people coming from Spain and from France speaking. There's something on for everyone. There's virtual reality. There are reading rooms. And I've actually interviewed Alan, and that will be coming up in a few weeks' time for you. And that's all about the conference. And it starts on the Friday evening and it finishes on the Sunday night. There's ghost walks and all kinds of things going on. I'll be speaking on the Saturday. And the tickets vary in price depending on whether you're going for the entire weekend. You can actually pick and choose little pieces. And that's through Eventbrite. But if you can't find it, just email me and I'll pop you the link over. Now, my conference is going to be in Leyland in 2020. It'll be May the 17th. There will be me. There'll be a number of speakers. We will be having a town hall meeting where you can, if you want, you can just stand up and say, right, this has happened to me in Weybridge in 1972, whether it be a light, whether it be a little person, whether it'll be a weather phenomenon, anything you can think of that is strange and unusual that you would like to share. It will be just like a big BBR meet. We're just going to mingle. I've got talks. I've got little snippets, monologues of witnesses from all across the UK that I can play to you and you can listen to. I will have finished my hypnotherapy course by then. If there's time, which is really hard because I'd have to do some work with you weeks before. I could probably give you some homework at home to get yourself into that meditative state quicker so that I'll be able to do it on the day, because that's something I'm branching out into. I'm really keen on doing the course. It's helping me with my pain levels as well. So what I'll be able to do is relax you down. We can revisit the event that happened, the experience, in a safe way, as if you're watching it from a screen, if that's what you choose, or you can choose to be completely involved within it. There's a lot of fear involved in that. I can send you back without fear because you're in charge. There's a lot of myths about hypnotherapy. You're actually in charge of what happens. All the hypnotherapy is really is that trance that you get when you relax. So maybe if you like biking or running, or you like being out in nature, that feeling that you get when you're just very, very relaxed, it's just basically getting you into that state and then taking you back to that memory. And you can do that in a number of ways, so it's not the same for each person. You can't, people are worried that they're going to give secrets away. It doesn't work like that. You can actually lie under hypnosis because you are completely in control of it. What the hypnotherapist does is takes you down to that state and just asks you the questions that will trigger that memory. And what we can also do is take them back in time. So to see if there were any childhood events that they didn't know had happened, and even further still, if they wanted to regress and see if it was something from a past lifetime, or even if there was a past lifetime. So all of that will be going on over the next 6 months. And I'm hoping that a number of them, I'm going to go first, as I say, and just let them film me and put it up there. I'm just waiting for it to happen. And then there's a number of people that said, oh, I don't mind if you film me while we're doing it. We'll put it up there and we'll share that with everybody. So if you're interested, get in touch with me and I'll get your name down on the list. We're hoping we can do it by Skype. Lots of people say, oh, you can't do it by Skype. What happens if, the phone goes out and you're completely in control of your own hypnosis session? The absolute worst that would happen was you would fall asleep and you would wake up when you felt like waking up. So it'd be like an afternoon nap. That's the absolute worst that can happen. And I give you the tools for that as we go in. I would say to you, you are completely in control of this session. You can bring yourself out of this session at any point that you want to. It's about suggestion to the brain, that's all. It's not mumbo jumble that people confuse, I think, with stage hypnotherapy and things like that. So now I can turn the chat on and I can see what people are saying finally, which will be wow, there's absolutely hundreds of people in. I didn't expect that at all. Hello from Todmorden. I'm actually nipping up to Toddy next week. I have strange read that you said that. People have heard me speak about Mark's encounter when he was a boy, and I've managed to get hold of the people that were with him and speak to him. And I was also able to get hold of somebody else that when I first moved down here years and years and years and years ago, centuries ago it was, said to me that, do you remember people going on the bottom field because they saw lights? And I said, no, I'd never heard about that. And he said, yeah, it made it into the Salford Advertiser and everything. So I've managed to find that guy again and kind of get a witness account from him. As I'm interviewing him the other night, people around the estate start phoning into the police and saying that they're seeing lights above the estate. And it actually made it into the paper, into Salford Online. And they said that it was the space station that people were seeing. There's nothing to get excited about and not to worry about. And I just thought it was a really strange event. So Tino, one of my friends who's a member of BBR and lives up here, said to me, there's a monthly meet, Deb, at Toddy with the UFO guys, if you want to come up and talk to him about what's gone on. Hi, Danny. Talk to him about what's gone on and just explain your husband's case and how far you've taken your research into that case kind of thing and just discuss it. So, yeah, I'm going to be nipping up to Toddy. I was hoping I'd be able to arrange a meet for people, but it's just not, I've just not been able to get it going. So I'm going to try and do that in the spring now, I would imagine. I'm not going to be able to do it before Christmas, I don't think. And we're absolutely peppered. We haven't not got a pot to pee in, so I wouldn't even have the petrol at the moment to get up there. Because other than the hypnotherapy course, which I'm managing to do for free, because the lady's using me as a study case. So she's going to use me for a psychological paper, and then she's teaching me to do what she does. So that's free. I'm not spending money on that. I am going to make the map an app, so that people can pay for the app. It would probably be about £1.50, and then every single day, any new sighting that could come in would come up online on your phone on the app, and it's just it's not extortionate to do that, and it's something I wanted to do for an awful long time. And obviously that will raise money for BBR, and we can get tech and kit out there and start helping people get out to the witnesses in the areas, and basically giving them something back for all the volunteer work that they do. So that's an idea that I've had. And I've closed, as you know, I've closed the expensive website down. That's gone now. We've moved it over to a blog that's much cheaper and much easier to do things on. So it's things are getting a little bit better. So now, if you don't mind, I'm going to do some shout outs. And I know people often complain about the shout outs, but I am amazingly appreciative of the support that I get from people, not just with the clicks and the likes and the subscribes and all of that. I feel like the members that are out there are my friends. So when I'm doing this, I'm chatting with my friends. So if you don't like them, just turn the sound down for 5 minutes while I do them, and then we'll carry on, because I'm going to do questions. I can see that Kev, my friend from down near Wolverhampton, is in. I can see Simon and Joel, Mark. I think Kaz was in earlier. I just seen Kaz's name. Is she still in here? I can see Louis, Trev. I hope I don't miss anyone. There's just so many of you, and I can't believe it. I can't believe we've had so many people in tonight. That's absolutely fantastic. So, has anybody got any questions for me? Chuck them at me. Hello, James. North of Cannock Chase. A lot going on at Cannock Chase at the minute, as always. I am actually in talks with someone's secret thing that's going on that you'll absolutely love if it happens, but I can't say too much about it. There she is. There's Kaz. Hello, Shane. But I've had some recent reports coming from Cannock. They're still in rough draft because I've only been able to move them over from email at the minute. But I will get on to you. I'm not sure about the horse for Bigfoot. I'll have a look, James, to see what I can see. But yeah, there are reports that I've not brought you tonight, just basically because I didn't have time to add them in there. Hello, Kevin. I hope Kevin Scarriot's in. My friend Kev. Absolute sweetheart is Kevin, so I wanted to say hi to him. But I can't believe how many people have turned up. Hello, lots there. Yeah, so BBR, what are we going to do with BBR this next year? What are people interested in? What do you want us to do? Is there something that you're interested in that I've not asked people? Are there any guests that you would like to ask me to get on? Because I'm more than happy to message them. Thank you, Darren. That's lovely. Oh, I like that name, the Bloody Baron. Hello, Scottish Outdoors. How are you? I thought my friend Rick would be in, but I can't see him at the moment. Lou CC, James Pinkleton, as I say. Absolutely fantastic. Do you want to be a member of BBR? If you do, get hold of me in debbiehatswell@gmail.com. When this video stops being live, it will go up on YouTube, and you can actually just comment in the comments and get in touch with me, and I'll pop you some membership papers over. We have a private map, and lots of people are struggling with it, don't really understand what it's there for. On the map, I tag you in the town that you're in, so you can see if there's any other people in your area that are already BBR members. Some of them will want to meet up offline, and some of them will want to meet up online and have a chat. I need to just pull something up a second because I forgot I've got a few shouts to put out for people in areas. So I add people to the map in the hopes that every now and again they'll check it and see if there's anybody new popped up in their area. And I've tried a number of times in Stanley in the northeast, to the point where I'm banging my head on the wall. And I've even tried adding all of those members into one email so that they will communicate between each other. Because when you've got 9 researchers in one area, you've basically got a northeast team there, haven't you? Already set up and needs to get going, but I can't seem to get them to get talking to each other. I know Andy Hardy and Lee Muzz are, but Stu Hill's up there. There's quite a number of them up there, and I've tried to get them all talking together, Chris Huth, and get them communicating, but it doesn't seem to be happening. So I'm not really sure what to do. So if you are a member and you've never seen the map and you're not sure about it, just let me know and I will pop it over to you in email, and I'll even give you a little explanation on it. And these are the areas that people have asked me for. So Thetford, I've got a couple of researchers. I've done the same thing. I've tried adding them into the same email to get them talking to each other, and it doesn't seem to be happening. So we've got some female researchers down there that are happy to meet up with other female researchers. And obviously, if it was a male researcher, they just want to have a chat to you online first, because it's hard for a woman to meet strange men online, as you can imagine. But yeah, we've got a number of people in the Thetford area who want to meet up with others and get together and go out and research or have a chat online about theories and bounce ideas around. And I've done everything I can to get you together, and you don't seem to be getting it. And I know you can lead a horse to water, but at the moment it's not drinking. So if you're out there and you're one of those Thetford lot and you want to meet others, just email me. And then when I add you into an email and it comes in with other people, they're all researchers from your area. Just click on it and send them an email. They're all like you. They're all interested in, just having a chat. We've also got Ayrshire. We've got a number of people in Ayrshire that are not on the private map because they haven't joined yet. Because they've looked at the map and said, there's nobody on there, it's pointless. We just need 1 or 2 to join, and then people see that they're on there and it grows exponentially. It's only a couple of months old. And I've asked the Scottish lot to get on there, and they're just not on there yet. Norfolk again. A number of people looking for research partners in Norfolk. I know that there are people in Epping Forest and in Sussex and Surrey that are all looking for other people to go out there with. We've got Leicestershire, same thing. Lincoln, Northumberland, as I've said, Staffordshire, all of Wales. I think we've got 2 researchers in the entire Welsh coast, and we need more, and all of Ireland. So get in touch with me and let me know so I can put you in touch with other people. And I don't mind doing it. It's only 5 minutes. really, where I have to put you in, you know, send you their email and send them that email. And I keep doing the shouts. I'll do the shouts once a month as we are doing these talks, the BBR meet. Which brings me to another subject. We used to do a hangout, if people remember, like a round table. So there'd be me and a number of other people on the screen, and we'd just have a general chat, and I'd tape it. And I always did that through Google Hangouts, because they were the only thing that you could do it through on YouTube at the time. And that's gone now. That you're not able along to do that, so I can do it by Skype. Actually, I'm allowed around about 9 other people other than myself. And what we would do, we would just have a general chat. Obviously, I'd introduce everyone to each other. We'd have a private chat for 10 or 15 minutes. So, you know, anything you want to ask me in private, that's fine. And I'll let you all know when we start taping. And then we just basically have a round table. We throw ideas around and bounce. And it doesn't have to be about Bigfoot or cryptid. It can be about any of the subjects that you're interested in. And they would be, as I say, I can only get 10 people on. So each month, someone would have to drop out and another person would come in, and eventually we'd all get a go at it, if you get what I mean. And I don't have to speak. I can stay silent while, you know, I'll try, I'll do my best. You know what I mean? So that you can chat amongst yourselves, and I'll be there if you've got any questions, kind of thing. I'd just be hosting it, so it's not a big thing for me. And I'm hoping to do one probably next Sunday night, something like that. So if you're interested in it, I would obviously need your Skype name, and you'd need to let me know either whichever way you normally get in touch with me. And I would just put us all in a Skype call, and I can record it. Now I've got some decent recording equipment finally, with a decent mic, so we'll get decent audio, much better than Google Hangouts, and we'll have a go at that. But you need to let me know up front. So I'll be asking around in the groups and things. Don't worry. But if you're up for it, let me know. And then I'll get your names down on the list, and the first 9 will go through, and then we'll keep adding to that list, and eventually I'll get you all on, and we'll do it that way. So let's have a look what's going on in the chat. Peter, that's a fantastic idea. You know me, I'm not in for the hunting. That's not how I do things. But I do understand about DNA collection, and we're not talking bodies here, folk. We're talking hair samples, by the way. And there are lots of people looking at it on a scientific level. And if you're interested in getting out there and doing some simple hair traps that you can do with duct tape, it's not got to be invasive in any way, shape or form. You can even go into an area where they've been sightings and look and see if you find any strange hairs. Let's get a team together. Let's get people together who are interested in that kind of thing. We might not be able to do anything with the samples as it stands at the moment, but we could save them forensically in case down the line that that service becomes available. Same with footprint finds and things like that. It would be absolutely fantastic if we had a team in every single county that could go in, take footprint casts. Then we'd have the evidence that people demand from us. And we can't deliver it at the moment because we are very few and far between. There's Natalia, my friend. Natalia, while we're on, can you give Peter my apologies? Mark's mum was a bit poorly, so I've been up and down to the hospital and I've not been able to phone him. But I am going to phone him on Monday and sit down and well, I think I'll message him on Monday and see what night he wants to record with me. Because Pete's going to be speaking at the conference on paranormal matters. And I'm recording with each person that's going to be speaking, so you get a little bit of a taster of what the day is going to be like for everybody. I'm just doing a quick look. I'm really glad that people are discussing the wee folk. I can see in the chat that you're doing that, because there's lots of people make those reports, and a lot of them say to me, no, Debbie, don't put them out there. I don't want people knowing. So the more that I can show them that actually other people are seeing the same thing or a similar thing, then they will change. Because I noticed that for the Bigfoot lot, it was 2-3 years ago, people just would not share it, just would not happen. But now they just don't mind. I was really shocked when I said to people, do you mind if I just film you a little bit for the conference? I just want some little short monologues that I can put together and show people just how average and ordinary the witnesses are. Yeah, no, I don't mind. Now, 4 years ago, they'd have got, no, not a chance. Not a chance. I'd have better do them in a dark room, all of that malarkey. But people just don't seem to mind now, because I think they know that there are other people out there experiencing it, and that's kind of what's happening. The ones that are seeing the little ones, the ones that are seeing things that they can't describe, they don't know what name to put upon it, and just do that. Let's just kind of take whatever report comes in. Let's take it, because you just don't know down the line. It might be a part of the puzzle. We're still looking at that. Is it the area itself that's important? Is it an energy in some way? Is the area attracting in the phenomena or putting out the phenomena? Is it the person who arrives in the area that makes the event happen? Are they all accidental? Every single one of them is an accidental coincidence, or some of them on purpose? Do people see them because they're meant to be seen? You know, all of those strange questions that come into it are something that we need to be discussing. I'm seeing a lot of debate going on Facebook at the minute about who's wrong and who's right and who's right and who's got it right and who's no, and just absolute garbage. Yeah, it doesn't matter. None of that matters when you're a witness. What matters is that there's somebody that you can say to, what was it like for you? How did it go for you? And well, no, it wasn't like that for me. And then you go on to the next person, and until you find the person where you go, that's exactly what it was like. And then you get that validation and you move on and you keep going forward. Let me just have a check. What was that? Overly surveyed. We're looking at areas that have been overly surveyed. Dead areas that are hardly looked, maybe because they are hard to get to. I get what you mean. So you want to be like Wolf Hole Crag. It's swampy, it's horrible. You don't really want to go into there. That's probably where we're going to find them. You don't find something every time you go out. I know it looks like that on YouTube, but that if you're following someone and every single week they get something, then you need to be asking questions, because it does not happen like that. There are some very unscrupulous people out there who will erect a structure outside their tent on a night investigation when they have never done a night investigation before. The very first night that they do it, they sneak into somebody's area. Why would you sneak in the first place, you know, if you'd arranged to meet the researcher and go in with them? And just miraculously overnight, you know, a structure is built outside a tent with clear saw marks. And you think, well, let's have a guess how long it's going to be until they get some kind of howl or something. And it normally takes about 3 months. And then you think, right, well, next one's going to be a footprint. And then, you know, the footprint's found. And you think, well, you know, we know where we're going with this one. The next one's going to be a sighting. So that's my prediction. There's a lot of that going on at the minute. And it just doesn't happen like that. I've been at this 37 years. I found one print. One print that I would put before Jeff Meldrum and say, look at that for me and tell me if that's human. That's how rare it is. There are people out there in the wilds working, who are out there every day, foresters, woodland folk, you know, game wardens. They're not finding something every day. It is not that easy to do. So the more people we've got out there, the more boots on the ground kind of thing. We double our chances, don't we? We triple our chances, we quadruple our chances. The more we grow as a membership, and we can say, right, something's coming from Stoke. Who have we got in Stoke? Let's see who I can get down there in Stoke. Now, if the witness wants to go down the flesh and blood route, we can go out there, we can look at the area, we can look for, as I say, prints or any sign or anything like that. If they want to go down the extraterrestrial route, we can put them in touch with somebody that can talk them through that and tell them their experience. If they want to go down the paranormal route, dimensional route, regardless of what it is, I am hoping that I've got somebody in that area or somebody on that members map that I can contact and say, can you help this lady? Can you help this guy? They've had an experience. They think it's extraterrestrial in nature. They think it's paranormal in nature. They think it's a dimensional slip. Like the lady in the Bigfoot with the puddle. Where would you go with that report? Up to him running into the woods, it is a typical cryptid report until that car starts to turn. And that takes us into the para region. Para just means around. So we would call it a paracryptid report, maybe. I mean, you know, you never know. There's lots of unscrupulous researchers out there who've made up names when they don't understand the situation. So there might be a wiki page about me out there at some point that made up the, you know, paracryptid report. But not all these reports are flesh and blood in nature, and we need to take that on board. So like a spider web, I'm hoping BBR will just branch out like that across the UK, and that's what we'll be able to give people. You're right, Joel. It isn't just Facebook. It's everywhere you look at the moment, and I think take an advice from an old bird, you know, unless they're paying your rent or unless they were stood next to you that day that you saw it, it doesn't really matter what they think, does it? Because at the end of the day, to them it's research. To me, it's my truth. It's what I saw that day. So it doesn't matter if they're a researcher or an expert or they wrote a book or they've done a doc or they've done this. It matters not a jot to me. It doesn't answer my questions. And it didn't help to take me fear away either. So it's great that it, you know, gets the topic going and everything, and it's wonderful. But as Karen will tell you, until you get your boots on and get yourself out there and you walk a mile in someone else's shoes, you don't really get to comment on what happened to him that day. And I also think that they expect a witness to have all the answers, which is ridiculous. That's like somebody witnessing an armed robbery, and then the police officer saying, what was the robber's name? Where did he come from? What car was he driving? When did he get that car? You don't expect that, because all you've got is that split second event. So why would I be any different? How can I tell you where he came from, what he is, what he eats, where he sleeps, what his house looks like? I can't answer any of those questions. And for decades I've been asked to apologise because I can't answer those questions. If my witness testimony is good enough to arrest a man for armed robbery and put him in prison, why is my witness testimony not good enough that I saw something impossible that I can't explain? It just, there's two sides to that stick that they try and beat me with. And I think, why would I know the answer? He didn't give it to me. These witnesses here in the chat now, I can see them. None of them have got the answer. He didn't hand them anything when they saw him. They just had that split second in time. So breaking through that barrier is probably one of my biggest passions, is allowing people to say, this happened to me. I cannot explain it. I don't know what it was. I don't even know how it happened, but it did happen. And I want to be able to talk about it because I want to know if there's anybody else out there that it's happened to. And, you know, sometimes they are out there alone because we haven't found anyone to validate or to put them with. But that doesn't mean that we're not looking and we won't find them in the future, because there will be future witnesses and there'll be future people that have events. So in time we should be able to validate those for them, because that's all I wanted for me, and I just want that for everybody else as well. And it does seem that in some cases, you're right, some people seem inclined to see them. And I used to think that they were all accidental sightings, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I could put my hand up now and say I was completely wrong on that one. I presumed that every single one of those encounters out there was accidental in nature, and I don't think that's the case now. Because patterns work for me, and the pattern I see is a certain type of person, somebody that's kind of sensitive, bit of a lone wolf, don't mind their own company, likes being out on their own quite often, don't mind going for walks on their own, that kind of person who's either into energy work or, you know, mediumship or something that we would call the alternative subjects, you get what I mean? Even animal healers and animal behaviourists seem to have these encounters, and not just the cryptid encounter. I normally let them say the encounter, and I say to them, has anything else strange ever happened in your lifetime? And then, you know, the other stories tend to come out, and you'll hear stories of missing time, or just trying to think because I've not got my notes in front of me. UFO lights, extraterrestrial lights, like in the sighting before where the guy followed it and could never quite catch it up. We used to call them ghost lights in the old days, but I don't think they're anything to do with spirit. I do think they're energy in some way, but I think ghost lights is the wrong word for them. And we've been able to manage to capture them in Colbin in the daytime, in the light. You can actually see them with the naked eye, and you can catch them on the camera. People going into areas that they know like the back of their hand and just suddenly becoming completely lost. So they've got no understanding of where they are, and you get the panicky feeling when they try and find themselves to get back there. And you've got the quick running figures in the wood, the thud that people talk about, the whistles and chattering, and names being called and things like that. So all of those events will have happened either prior to the account, during the account, or after the account. So you never, it's rare that I find somebody that's just got that one story. That, oh no, nothing else has ever happened to me. Just that one thing. Why they see them, I don't know. Can't answer that. I can give you the theories behind it, but I can't tell you 100% what it is. And if I did, I'd be lying because I don't know myself. And there'll be some people I've annoyed when I say that, but I'm not ever going to speak on another man's truth. I am not 100% what I saw that day, and I can't be until I sit down with it and get that answer. It will always be theory, won't it? And I'm okay with that. I can accept that. I don't know Birches Valley, but if it is on that Ellesmere run, the M6, that kind of down the Lancs, then I've got reports from Risley and Birchwood, Warrington, Ellesmere Port, that kind of area running up to Tarleton, above Southport to the Ribble Valley. And it'd be a really good meet for some of us Northwesters to get together and anyone else who fancies popping along. The problem with the meets, what you've got is people expect me to organise them. So I have to kind of get it all together. Then I have to tell everyone where they're going. Then I'll have to like phone everyone and tell everyone where we're going. I have to find an area, so I'm doing it ad hoc on a map in places I've never been. If there was someone out there who said, oh, I know a good cafe, it's not far from some of the sighting areas, do you want to meet there? All I'd have to do is put a little video out saying, we're going to be at Simon's Cath, 2 p.m. on Saturday, come down and join us. And it'd make things much easier to me, and there'd be miles more meets. I've also said, if you want to do a meet and I can't get there, then just stick me on, Facebook Messenger or Skype or something like that, and stick me next to you. I'm there. You can ask me the questions. I'll be there for all the hours you want me to be there. And just, can some of you organise the odd meet? Can some of you say, does anybody fancy coming to Blur on this day, and then I will do my abject best to get there? Because if it's only the matter of travelling there and travelling back, it's not as hard as getting all of it done. And really, basically, all it is just picking one area, and I tell people where that area is. And if I give them a postcode because it's a cafe, it's even easier than that. So if you're interested in doing that, jump on it for me, because that'd be a massive help. It frees me up to do other stuff. I'm hoping eventually you won't need me to do that. I am just the voice of BBR at the minute. I'm learning alongside all of you. There's people out there who know a hell of a lot more than on a multitude of subjects than I know. I take the witness reports and I'm the gobby bird that, puts them out there. But if you want to run with an idea, run with it. If you want to start your own podcast and use the BBR emblem, go for it. I don't mind. Just let me know. I'll do what I can to help. I'll be your first guest. If you've got an idea and you want to run with it, yeah? If you want to arrange a meet. I'll bend over backwards to get there. I don't mind jumping in as often as I can to help, but eventually it's got to be bigger than me, because I'm not always going to be there to say to people, this person's trying to get in touch with you, this person's trying to get in touch with you. I'm not the secretary. And people are often shocked when I say to him, you do understand, don't you, that my disability comes first, my family, my kids, my mum, my mother-in-law, I've got all of that, and then it's, can you do this, can you do that, can you do that? And you don't mind, but you think, well, could you just not do that? Could you just not organise that, and then I'll come down for the day? And it might sound like I'm moaning, but if you get asked that 37 times in a week, that's 37 events you have to organise. I think that's what I'm trying to get off you. There'll be people who will message me, and then they will email me to tell me that they've messaged me, and then they will text me to tell me that they've emailed me and messaged me, and then there's people where I'll message them back, and they will email me to tell me that they've messaged me. It could go on quite often, long and the day. So I think what I'm saying to people is just run with it. You don't need my permission. There is no copyright on the British Bigfoot, If it's something you want to do, just go for it. Just try it out and see. You never know. You might be absolutely fantastic at it, because people need to hear more than just my voice, and they need to hear just more than my opinion. And I'm getting on in years, so I'm sure there's young blood coming up that have got some top ideas that people would be interested in doing. I'm just having a nosy. You don't mind? I'm just going to have 5 minutes so I can just have a look through these. Do you know I'd never heard of MUFON? That'll shock some of you, won't it? I've been so... Birch's Alice Cannock, right, I'll make a note of that. I've been so focused in on the Bigfoot stuff and the upright, like, hairy hominids. I've missed out on so much. I mean, I know... We all know paranormal stuff now, don't we? Because, you know, demonology, all of that goes on. It goes on around you and you hear it in the programmes. And I've got lots of friends that are into it and things like that. And I've got lots of friends that are into the UFO reports and stuff. But I'd never heard of MUFON. I was trying to work out... I'm just reading Lee saying when's the next meet. I'll go through it all again in a second. Right, I was trying to work out who I could go to see if I could match some of the reports, because that's what I tend to do. And somebody put me in touch with a lady in Beamish, which was serendipity, because we've got a lot of reports in Beamish. So she's a lady that's in the UFO realm. So, and I'd said to her, would you put my story out there and just ask if there's anybody in Beamish, Stanley, Consett that's experienced anything strange, because I've got a number of sort of hairy 8-man reports from the area. And I'd love to know if there are any more reports out there that I don't know about. So she's going to do that for me. Lee, I'm not sure when the next meet's going to be, because at the minute I'm back in my trusty old wheelchair. When I'm not on the wheelchair, I'm back on the bed. My hands and my legs are just not working at the minute. As Karen will attest, I struggle enough in the summer when it's warm. So winter's hard. But if there's anyone out there who wants to arrange a meet in... I don't drink, but I would go to a pub as long as I could get a brew there. But a cafe would probably be better. Wants to arrange a meet down there, all you've got to do really is say, there's this cafe, and I'm going to be there Saturday second, and I'll put it out and advertise it to everyone, and Mark will bring me down in the car. And we'll have a meet there. We'll have like a kind of ad hoc meet. But other than that, I'm going to try and do as many meets as I can online like this. As I was saying to the viewers before, we will get 9 or 10 people on Skype. We'll tape it. We'll have a natter, and we'll try and do at least one of them a month. And each month we'll have different people on, so everybody gets a turn at it, kind of round table thing, until we get to spring. And then once spring comes, we're laughing. Once we've got warm weather, then it'll be easier for me. And then we can get out. But as I was saying, if members want to arrange meets, arrange the meet, and I'll be there on FaceTime, or I'll be there on Skype or whatever. I'll still be there. I'll still be able to answer your questions and everything. I just won't be there in body, so I'll be able to sit in my bed comfortable and still do what I do, because I do that most times. I don't really get about much when it's cold. Yeah, as Natalia's got lots and lots of reports for us from across Europe, really, the Baltic states, that kind of thing, because there's a large tradition there of the canid reports, you know, your dogman, that kind of cryptid creature. And more of those reports are coming in for me. And as people know that I do some reports for Iger, Iger had actually wanted to come over to the conference, but I just can't afford to get him over here, unfortunately. So I said I'll film it for him and send it so that he can have a look. So yeah, all you have to do to become a member, David, is just email me. I'm just going to pop my email in the chat now. Debbie Hatswell @gmail.com. There we go. And I can sort it out from you, my end. I send you a set of membership papers out. Little badge so you know you're a member. Little card in there from me. And there is my email addresses on it. If you want to go on the members map, you just let me know and I'll pop you on there. And then as soon as I send your membership out, I send you a welcome to BBR membership. And while I'm at it, if you're a member of BBR and you've not had your welcome to BBR membership email, that's just me and I've missed it doing my admin, let me know and I'll pop it over to you, because it has the links to all of the free sites. So we charge £3.99 to join, but that's just a one-off payment. All that does is it pays for me to print off your membership papers, put them in an envelope and post them down for you. Yeah, so that's just the cost for that. There's no other charges other than that. There's free Spreaker, free podcasts, free iTunes, sighting reports and podcasts that will go up on there before they will go up on YouTube. So you'll be getting early exclusives. Everybody today who's a member was emailed with every single sighting report that came in during September. Now, those reports may not hit the public until January or February. So it also has enabled people to chat together offline, or online, if they, or out in the field, or whatever it is they want to do. And I send a monthly email around, and we do this monthly live feed as well, so everybody is kind of on the same plate. So, Natalie, if you could just email me again, same thing. All I need from people is one email address that you don't mind sharing. You don't have to give your address on the map or anything like that. You can even just go by the county. So you could say Debbie Hatswell from Lancashire. You don't have to have your pin on your house or anything like that. I normally just stick it in the town. So if you say from London, I'm going to stick you right in the middle of London. So, obviously for privacy reasons. If you want to go on the map and you don't want people to know any of those details, there's a method for that. I just give you a reference number. I've just popped my email up for you, Natalie. I give you a reference number, and that means that anyone who's interested in contacting you has to go through me. So they will give me their contact details, and I would contact you and say, blah, blah, in Wales has got in touch, and they want to know if you want to liaise. Here's their contact details. It's entirely up to you what you do. We're looking for, as I can see now, North Lanarkshire. I know that there are members up there, and they just haven't signed up, and they've not jumped on it. I think people are just a little bit wary because they're worried about personal details and things like that. I'm stopping doing, I think, everything through eBay. We're ending that because the fees are just so high. It's ridiculous. We're actually running at a deficit of about 61 pence a member. I can't manage to do that forever. So I'm going to stop doing on eBay, and we've set up a little admin team, a number of girls who've said, oh, I don't mind sending the envelopes out for you, Deb. If you can sign them all, I'll take over that side of it for you. So that's probably what we're going to be doing from now on. We do ask for every now and again. I never, I'll say, is there any chance people can send £1? Because sometimes we just can't keep ourselves online. But we have spent the last 8 or 10 weeks of narrowing down everything. So it should work like clockwork from now on and cost very, very little. In the hopes that in the future, as I say, we can start getting kit and sending it out there. People want GoPros. People want game cameras. It would be nice to be able to say to people, oh, there's money in the BBR membership if you need, a camera, or if you need this or you need that. We can set up a kind of library of equipment where people borrow them and then send them around. The plans I've got are obviously all pie in the sky at the moment, but I had to start from somewhere once, and, we're doing okay. And with the biggest, and I think the longest running Bigfoot group in England, and now we've spread out into the paranormal realm, and we're looking at other thing. I honestly think in years to come that we're going to have members everywhere, and that's the plan, hopefully. And as I say, we're not just, you don't have to pay month in, month out if you don't want to. Some people do. Some people send us donations once a month. Some people join Patreon because they get a lot of free stuff on Patreon. They get personal interviews with me and things like that. And it's a way of supporting the team. But just buying a membership is the way of supporting a team. Or buying one of the little badges or a window sticker. It all comes in, doesn't it? But you don't have to. It's not compulsory. We don't mind. Some people want to get out in the field and get muddy. Some people want to watch the podcasts or just listen to the stories, and that's fine. Other people like the community. Pin badges, Louis, just email me again. I've ordered them today. They'll be here before Friday, they said. I'll be able to show everybody proper, obviously, because I'll have an actual badge to show you and not just a mock-up. And then I'll pop them out to people. So, yeah, jump in. WhatsApp. I do have WhatsApp, and I'm going to pop it in the welcome email. And I think it's just my name, Scottish. I think it's just Deborah Hatswell. But if not, email me, and I will pop my link over for WhatsApp. Because I was thinking of doing a BBR group on there. I don't know what people think about that. I mean, now's a good time to ask, isn't it? Would that be something that you'd be interested in? There is a secret little group on WhatsApp where we discuss, obviously, like the police cases and things like that. Some things that we can't put out there on Facebook. But it wouldn't make it hard for me to make a BBR group if people wanted to be in there. They could show images of your finds, and that would free me up because there'd be other researchers in there that could say, oh, I know what that is, or I've seen that before. That would free me up immensely, so it's something we could set up. So yeah, I'm just gonna actually, where's me? I can pull WhatsApp up while I'm here, can't I? 1 second. And then I can tell you the name. I honestly think it's just my name. So, yeah, it's just Deborah Hatswell. Oh, I can't see that, can you? Because I'm like Deborah Hatswell, BBR. So it's actually Debbie Hatswell at BBR. So just add me on WhatsApp, and I will sort a WhatsApp group out for us all and pop us all in it. I know I'm getting a bit beyond it with Facebook. I'll be honest, I do less and less on Facebook. But I do have to hang out there because I get a lot of my site reports through Facebook and through the BBR page and things like that. But I do a lot more work now on podcasting and YouTube. Just a nicer place to be, I'm being honest. It just is. Everyone's an expert on Facebook, I've found. And people just jump on you. The minute you say anything that doesn't fit in with what someone else has told them, they jump all over you. And it's just not great for the witnesses, that. So it's not, it used to be an ace place for looking at, but I'm not looking at any more social media. I can't really take any more on. I've got someone doing Instagram for us. I've got someone doing Twitter for us. And just any ideas that are up there. Are you okay if I share this email? Because it's asking me, Scottish, if you're okay with that. So if you just give me a thumbs up, and then I'll know. Oh, awesome, Stu. I'm glad. If you're in the northeast and you're looking for someone to give you some ideas, then you need to speak to Stu Hill. And he is in the chat now. Stu is the man to go to in the northeast because he's been at it a long time down there. He's not gonna tell him anything that he's not heard before. And he's a really nice, down-to-earth bloke. So you can have a decent chat with him about what's going on. And he's probably found the same things that you found, or had the same interest in and knows what it's like to be a beginner. And Stu's one of the very rare people who remembers what it's like to be a beginner. And the key word in that was remembered, because lots of people forget what it was like when they were starting out. I have walked past more sign than anyone on this planet. I didn't even know X's were significant when I started doing what I was doing. I've walked past millions of them. I've walked past millions of arches. I've probably walked past millions of footprints, because you're all sat somewhere and you all make mistakes, and that's what it's supposed to be like, because it's okay to make a mistake because you learn from that mistake. So I always say to people, don't apologise. Do not apologise. That's how I learn. I dropped so many clangers, and I still do. The amount of times I have been out and not took my phone or not took my camera, and the things I've missed. And it's human nature, innit? We err on occasion, and I'm okay with that. I'm absolutely fine. I think that keeps us at a level that we need to be at, Twitter's hard, isn't it? I tried Twitter, and there's no actual way of getting a conversation going. You're just kind of sharing each other's posts, and it's become a bit like, I don't really, I just kind of share the YouTube videos on them there now. I don't really know what to do. But yeah, I would like it if we had a place where we could all start swapping things. There is a Google album, but Google are dropping so many apps at the moment. One of the reasons I needed new equipment is they're also banning Flash Player. Well, Flash Player is what enables you to run your videos and things. So all of that will be out of the window for me. I won't be able to see any of the evidence finds that come in on video. So I needed a decent setup, and that's what I've managed to get. So now I've got options, which is fantastic, because it can drive us even, more forward still. So if we can just show support by turning up at the conference, or if you can't, just share the post. If you're on one of the social medias and you see your post go up, just give it a share. It costs nothing. It takes 10 seconds, and we might find us another witness. It might find us somebody out there who thinks they're on their own, or it might find us somebody that's got a skill set that we could tap into and use. It's all about networking. And I know that sounds a bit, people say, oh, she's a bit media savvy. But that's how the world works in 2019. That's how we network, isn't it? That's why we have the web. I mean, it's, what do they call it? What's that? Oh, Karen, what's that? Better the devil you know. Yeah, better the devil you know kind of thing. But there's the other side to it. I can see a community, whereas 5 years ago there wasn't. You had people that weren't prepared to say what they did, what their hobby was, what podcast they like listening to. You'd not have got a man in Manchester 5 years ago saying, I absolutely listen, I love listening to Vic Reeves, or I love listening to Dogman Diaries, or, I love listening to Sasquatch Chronicles. But people do. They absolutely love it, and there's nothing wrong with that because it gets them talking about the subject and it gives them an interest and something to express an interest in. So if we can get everybody chatting, hello, Dr. Tracy. I didn't know you were in. That's absolutely fantastic. I will popping your membership papers out in the morning, actually. It's Monday tomorrow, isn't it? I just had to work out when my days was. Sometimes I'm a bit like a mad professor. You find me with pens in my hand, I never know what the day is, and 3 sets of glasses on. And I know I'm a bit sporadic, but I'm giving it my best. I really am trying. I'm not sure why Stu's message did not go up, and that's nothing to do with me. That's probably YouTube's algorithms. If you message me, Natalie, I can probably get your information over to Dr. Tracy because I've got her email address. I can do it that way. No, I haven't been on there yet. I don't know what happened there, Trevor. He was a bit rude, actually. He messaged me and asked me what it going, and I said, yeah, it was absolutely fine. And I was more than happy to me pussycat shirt. I was more than happy to interview him, and he just never got back to me. Just seeing the message, the one. And I just thought, oh, well, he'll get in touch if he wants to. I mean, he never really did. And then he had some strange lady on that I'd never heard of, talking about British Bigfoot, and she was talking about the wheel, she didn't really have much to input, so I just thought, oh, well, never mind. I'm not for everybody. I'm not everybody's flavour, am I? But, yeah. Honestly, on that point, I would say, somebody just said, is it best to talk to everybody? It's like when you have a new baby or you get a puppy. Everybody gives you loads of information and tells you how to do it their way. Pick the pieces that work for you out of that. Because you got to follow your gut on this. That's going to be your biggest guide, in all honesty, is your gut. If you see something and it feels shonky and it doesn't feel right, just go with that feeling. If you see a theory or you have a conversation and you think that works for me, then that's the way your journey needs to go. It doesn't matter what some man in California tells you, because he's not you. But if you like watching his videos and you like listening to his podcast, go for it. Why not? Because he might say something on the next one that correlates to you. Do you get what I mean? It's all about finding what works for you above everybody else, because really is a personal journey, and I don't think people understand that. I can, James. Can you email me, sweetheart? Because I can't, without you emailing me or messaging me in some way, shape or form, I'll never remember. That's the problem. I'll stick my email up again for everyone. Yeah, but email, if you've ever got a problem with anything, just email me and I'll do my absolute best to sort it out. We had around 800 emails, believe it or not, and that's why I've been so far down, and we've managed to get them down to 10, so it's a very manageable size at the moment. So yeah, just chuck me. There are people in Essex, yeah, there are, David. I'm just going to pull the map up now so people can see it. We've got lots and lots of English researchers, let's put it like that. We're really short on Scottish, Irish and Wales, but there are researchers everywhere across the country. There are groups of researchers around big towns, as you can imagine, and it would be great to get all of them speaking. I mentioned Stanley before. There are so many people in Stanley that there really should be a North East group up there. I'm just hoping if I turn this light down on my screen, you should be able to see it. 1 second, Deborah, you're opening the wrong blooming map, lady. 2 maps on my thing, they both look exactly the same. Right, let's have a look. I'm hoping you can see this. They're all the pins for England, so that's basically what we've got in England at the moment. And as you can see, we've got a few in Wales and a few in Scotland, but not hundreds and hundreds. But then all the members, not everybody signs up for the map. Some people just don't want to be on the map because they don't want to be contacted, or they are a little bit nervous and they want to see how it goes, kind of thing. And there's something there for everybody, you know. I didn't think we'd ever get that many people join, so I'm absolutely overjoyed when people do join, because you think you think that when you get people networking and they start discussing things, the conversation opens a multitude of other doors that you can look in and go through. And I can see people talking in the chat now and discussing things and saying, do you like this researcher? Do you like that researcher? What do you think of them? What do you think of this? And we need to get more of that going, because we've all got separate opinions. So there are going to be times when we're not going to disagree. But I honestly believe that people are okay with not agreeing. It's okay. You don't have to agree with everything, do you? It's the way that you don't agree that matters. So I've never in all my years of doing this had to separate anybody, other than to say, all right, guys, let's take it into private messenger now, if it's just been taken up the thread, kind of thing. I think because in this community you've got a lot of open-minded people, they're okay with people that express a different opinion than them, because I've been wrong. I've been wrong so many times. I mean, 25 years ago, I'd have told you I was looking for an ape, a monster of some kind, something, that would have ripped my face off and ate it. And my journey's been like that the entire time, and it's still like that. And I've spoken to researchers from every country in the world. I don't get to watch the videos anymore, but I used to. There'd be a time when I'd get 3 reports a year, so I had a lot of spare time, and I'd watch like you guys. I'd listen to the podcast, I'd watch things, I'd learn things, or I wouldn't learn things depending on how it went, and just to take from it what works for you. If you think that, no, I don't think, well, then just go with that gut feeling. If I'd have listened to my gut the other night, I wouldn't have had that horrible thing happen at the cemetery, would I? I completely ignored what my gut said. And that proves to me that I need to be listening to my gut a bit more. Awesome, Natalie. As soon as I finish the live feed, my lovely husband usually makes me a tiny little steamed pudding and I have a cup of tea. And then I'll check my payments and then I'll jump on email and I'll sort it out for you. As I said, Scottish, can you message me? Because I don't think I've got I know that you're on the Bigfoot map and everything, but I'm not sure if I've got your actual email, because me and you have spoken in email, because there's 2 Scottish outdoors and one of them's got Jorvik on it, and I'm not sure if I'm speaking to the same person or a different person. And it's just a mix up because of the names. And that can happen, believe it or not. I've actually had 2 witnesses, probably about 4 years apart, that have exactly the same name, but just there's 1 letter difference in the surname, and I can never remember which one is which. So whichever one I need to speak to, I have to go back to the map and look, and I think, right, I know which one that is, because they've got exactly the same name, and it's just strange, isn't it? Because normally, and it's not even a common name, it's an unusual name, and they've both got the same name, and for a long time I mixed them up, and I do that very often. Ow. Sorry. I do that quite often with some of the reports that come in, because I think there's about 600 now. And so obviously people say, is that the one from Colchester? And I'll have to think, and I'll think, was it the one from Colchester? Oh, I don't know, I'll have to go and look on my map, because it was really easy when I had 11 reports. I could tell you where they was, what day they happened, what time they happened. Now I can't. Now I have to think, right, long on, just let me go and have a look. Let me have a look in here. Oh, I missed my nan as well. I'm really sorry to hear about that. You'd be amazed how many people report mermaids, even in the Peak District, where there's no sea. At the Mermaid's Pool there, which is named for such, because a number of people have said. Let me have a look. Somebody being a knob? Let's just put it like that. Oh, what the hell? Just I don't do crazy little boys pushing agendas. I've been a pissing competition in my chat, so I'll just go away and find somebody else to annoy. If he pops back up again, the racist fool, just give me a thumbs up and let me know, and I'll get rid of him. Can't stand people like that. They just have kids sat in his mum's spare room eating Cheetos and cat food. Do you know what I mean? Get out there, mate, and just get a life. You always get them, don't you? Yep, knob indeed. Knob jockey, as my husband would say. So, has anybody got any questions for me? What time are we on? 10 to 9. Not 10 to 9 at all, is it, Deborah? And we've been on about 2 hours or something like that. Yeah, if anybody's got any questions for me, now is the time to ask, because I'm probably going to have to get going in about 5 or 10 minutes. Oh, here we go again with him. 52% of it, you know what? 52% of people like you tend to be single and have no friends. There you go. Let's get rid of him again. There is always one cock, one bull, and I'll probably get banned for saying that. Yeah. You've been travelling for 6 years. Travel a little bit more. When you get to fuck off, turn left at fuck off corner and carry on fucking off. Because no one's interested in anything that you've got to say. So I'll just get him reported. 1 second. Oh, I nearly reported the wrong person then. There we go. Choose one. This man is a knob. Oh, there isn't one for that. I'll have to go with that one. You just get them, don't you? You just get absolute not rights who come on your feet. It's just what they do. Yeah, they've got nothing to do in life, and then they just think, I know, I'll go on there and wind all them up. But yeah, we've come across the likes of him before. Right, that's him gone now. So where are we? So no. What does he mean if you think you saw a picture? What? I can't understand that one. I have no idea. Yeah, not got a clue. Oh, nothing really. Just going on doing, 60% of this and 70% of that, and yeah, it's clearly such some bigoted fool. I don't get out a lot, You get them, don't you? We'd like to know if you have recently received an update from Isabella. Just 1 second there, and I might be able to show you that, actually. Yes, I have. I've not been able to get to it yet. 1 second. I'll be able to tell you the date it come in, though. I have heard from her, and tomorrow I'll be able to pick it up. I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday when she got in touch with me, but I've been trying to get through my email. So tomorrow I'm free and I'm going to answer her then. So yes, I have heard from her, but I haven't opened it, so I don't know what's in it. The last time I'd heard from her, she was really unwell. She'd had to leave the cottage, and the owner had put the deer fence back up. He'd cut down every tree, every bush. The orchard had gone. He just kind of decimated the area completely. So I was unsure if I'd ever actually hear from her again. I mean, if that was the end. She didn't disappear on me. She said, I don't know what's going to happen in the future, kind of thing. So I have heard from her. So hopefully this week or next week I will bring you some updates from Isabella. And I'm trying to know what the email says, but I didn't want to open it while I was really busy. I wanted to really concentrate on it, and I've been on my pain meds a lot this week, so I didn't want to be distracted when I read it. So it'll probably be tomorrow or Tuesday, hopefully, depending on how I am. Hello, Margaret. Lovely to see you in. It's Margaret, one of my friends there. Yeah, so I've heard from her. Exciting times. I would love to do a wild camp. Now we've got the teepee and Mark's got my care routine down in it. As long as the weather's nice. Oh, here we go. Here's another one. Oh, it's probably the same guy with an extra flipping channel. Do you know if they put this much effort to being a kind of functioning human being, they do all right, wouldn't they? Yeah, here we go. I need to get myself some admins for the next one, I reckon. Let's get rid of him. There, he's gone. Hiya, Paul. I did a shout out. Paul is looking for people to meet up with in the field, and he's asked me a number of times. He's in Hampshire. Oh, this guy's been an absolute knobhead. Yeah, I do actually, Margaret. I do remember that. You saw them kind of throwing something at each other that you couldn't identify. Have you got some more? You don't have to speak about it in the chat if you don't want. You can just email and we'll speak about it in private. Um, there are people that have ongoing habituations, and as I say, we've got one in St Helens at Dunmore. We've got long-term ones in Scotland, the Medway, Staffordshire, Shrewsbury, lots of places really where people see them more than the one time. What was the question that Jack asked? Has it been no? Yeah, they do. They do. Some people can quite often live quite happily alongside them, and just let them go. You'd be amazed the number of families where the stories have gone back generation after generation. But I mean, I did used to say that there are no aggressive situations, but there are some situations like where you stumble in and you're in the wrong place and they will remove you from the area. And we have to admit that there are missing people in some of the sighting areas, and we can't say that the two things are together, but we can't say that no, there are no people. So we're just not sure. Some people have fantastic interactions with them, and other people not so much. And we're not sure if it's just because, like people, some are great, some are not, or it's something that we do as a human that triggers something to get that reaction, and it's something we're getting wrong. But we're not really sure on that. But it's one of some of the things that we can work out as we go. McLean. You might be able to, if you look up what that name means, it will mean something. If your name's Mac, it tends to be your title. It's like Jones and Cooper in the UK. We have lots of words that names that meant your job kind of thing. I don't know what a Hatswell is. I've asked Mark on a number of occasions because my maiden name is Crossley, which is just two ley lines at cross. But Hatswell is spelled like hat with a swelled head. So I said to Mark, "What does your name come from?" And he said, "I've not got no idea, do I?" So yeah, if you know what Hatswell means, let me know because we've tried looking it up. And there's a Hatswell Hall in Devon, but it doesn't belong to me or him. Yeah, and I think there's some Hatswells in London, but it's not a very well named name, is it? So let me have a look. Right, it's 2 minutes past 10. So if it's okay with you all, I am going to bring this live feed to an end. But as I say, we'll have a bit of oh, premieres. I meant to say that. If you see a video come up and it says premiere, it's nothing about it. It just means that it opens a chat box at the side of it, and it enables me to be in the chat exactly like this. So I'm going to try and put one of those videos out at least a week so that you can join me in the chat and you don't have to wait for the meets. And it gives everybody an occasion at least once a week to have a natter like this in the chat and get to know each other. And then at least once a month you will get a BBR meet like this where we can chat in the box again. And then we're going to do the round table. I will pre-record the round table and I will put it out as a premiere. So once again, you can be in the chat and I will be in the chat and the video will be playing away to itself and I can answer any questions that you've got. And the people on the round table can answer any questions that you've got because they'll be in the chat. So I'm thinking that's the way to go. So I can see you all saying good night. Absolutely amazed about how many people have tuned into this live feed. And I have to say thank you for that, for taking the time out of your lives to be here for me and for the other members tonight. It's absolutely fantastic. If you need anything or want putting in touch with anyone, or you want a membership, you want to come on the show and be interviewed, you want to talk to me in private, debbiehatswell@gmail.com, all lowercase, and you will find me. If not, stick my name in Google and I will pop up. This video will, 10 minutes after the live feed's finished, this video will go up as public on YouTube. Pop a comment in the comments. I'll find you that way. Might take me 2-3 days to answer the comment, but I will find you, I promise. And we will get this thing. Night, Kaz. Yeah, have to be up in the morning, no doubt. Night, Margaret, Paul, Susan. Hello, Susan. I didn't know you were in. Darren. I'm never going to be able to read all these out, and I'm going to let somebody down, aren't I? But good night, Natalie, Trevor, and all of the members at BBR for everything that you've done this month to make me incredibly proud, because you have made me incredibly proud. So as Stu says, rest easy everybody, and I will see you all in the week. Good night everyone.